In 1979, the world watched in disbelief as Iran, a key U.S. ally, rich in oil and history, erupted in revolution. A powerful monarch was overthrown, and a religious leader in exile became the supreme authority of a new Islamic Republic. This is the story of how it all unfolded: the Iran that was, the revolution that came, and the echoes still felt today. It began decades earlier. In the early 20th century, Iran, then known as Persia, was a battleground for imperial interests. In 1941, during World War II, the Allies forced the abdication of Reza Shah due to his pro-German leanings. His son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, became the Shah of Iran. Young, Western-educated, and eager to modernize his nation, the Shah envisioned a powerful and modern Iran. But modernization came at a cost. In 1951, Iran's Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, nationalized the oil industry, previously controlled by British interests. His popularity grew, but the Shah felt threatened. In 1953, with help from the CIA and MI6, a covert operation known as Operation Ajax removed Mossadegh. The Shah returned with even more power and with U.S. support. But for many Iranians, this moment marked the beginning of a long resentment toward foreign interference, and it planted the seeds of revolution. In the 1960s, the Shah launched the White Revolution, a series of reforms aimed at modernizing Iran. Land reform, women's suffrage, and industrial expansion were among his goals. But these changes angered both the traditional clergy and many segments of the population. The rural poor felt alienated. The Bazari merchants lost influence. The clergy saw Westernization as an assault on Islam. One cleric, Ruhollah Khomeini, stood out. He openly criticized the Shah and was arrested and exiled in 1964. Yet even from exile, his sermons and cassette tapes spread through Iran like wildfire. By the 1970s, Iran was both thriving and simmering. Oil revenues surged, but so did inequality. The Shah's secret police, SAVAK, brutally crushed dissent. Prisons filled with political opponents. Newspapers were censored. Meanwhile, Ayatollah Khomeini's messages from exile urged resistance. He preached against tyranny, Western influence, and the Shah's corruption, blending Islamic theology with revolutionary ideology. The death blow came in 1978, when the government published a slanderous article against Khomeini. It sparked massive protests in the city of Qom. Security forces opened fire. Mourning ceremonies 40 days later triggered more protests and more deaths. A cycle had begun, and it could not be stopped. Throughout 1978, the protests exploded across Iran. Workers went on strike. Oil production halted. The Shah declared martial law, but it only intensified the fury. On Black Friday, September 8th, hundreds were killed when troops opened fire on protesters in Tehran's Jaleh Square. The Shah's hold on power crumbled. He tried to appoint new prime ministers. He promised reforms, but it was too late. In January 1979, weakened and defeated, the Shah fled Iran. He would never return. Just weeks later, on February 1st, 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile after 15 years. He was greeted by millions. Khomeini quickly moved to consolidate power. The military declared neutrality. The monarchy collapsed. Revolutionary committees sprang up across the country. The prime minister of the Shah's regime resigned. Royalist institutions were dismantled. Khomeini declared, "This is the Islamic Revolution of the people of Iran." A referendum followed. Over 98% voted for the establishment of an Islamic Republic. But the revolution was just beginning. In the months that followed, the new Islamic Republic banned opposition parties, executed members of the old regime, and imposed Islamic laws. Women's dress codes were enforced. Political opponents, secularists, communists, even other Islamists were pushed aside. Then, in November 1979, radical students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, taking 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. The event shocked the world and forever ruptured US-Iran relations. The Shah died in exile, and Ayatollah Khomeini became the supreme leader of Iran, a position that holds power to this day. The Iranian Revolution changed not just Iran but the Middle East and the world. It ended centuries of monarchy and replaced it with theocracy. It challenged Western dominance and inspired Islamist movements across the region. But it also led to decades of isolation, internal repression, and economic struggles. Many who fought for freedom in 1979 found themselves silenced once more under a different kind of rule. And yet, even today, Iranians still debate what the revolution meant, what was gained, and what was lost. From monarchy to theocracy, from protests to power, the Iranian Revolution remains one of the most dramatic and complex uprisings of the 20th century. It was a moment when millions stood up to a king, believed in a dream, and changed the destiny of a nation. But revolutions are rarely the end. They are only the beginning. As always, thank you for joining us for watching Iran Revolution.